What's the richest form of content? Find out on this episode of Video Marketing with Josh and Mike.
All right, so welcome back, guys. We are just going to be talking a little bit about what to do with video content and how you can repurpose video content and why video content is the richest form of content, especially in this day and age, and what you can do with it. So let's launch right in.
Let's launch in. So, Mike, what is the richest form of content?
Audio. I'm just kidding. All right, it's over. No, video, for sure. I think video is the richest form of content simply because of everything that you can do with it. It is audio inherently. We have video and audio usually, like we're doing right now, if you're watching the video. And the things that you can do with it is it's more visually engaging, right? You can see my smiley face if I'm happy, if I'm sad, or if I say, hey, look at this, look, the guy did this, right? I can't really explain. I could take a lot longer to explain it.
And you can also see if someone is not happy and not trustworthy and is like, shady. You see all the nonverbals too.
Yeah, shady.
So it goes, on all of those fronts. If you're gonna put yourself on video, you do need to put your best foot forward. You don't have to be perfect,
right?
But you do need to be real. You have to be human.
Yeah. Brush your teeth, comb your hair.
I was supposed to do that? Hang on. So yeah, video is a rich form of content. So a couple things. Why is video the richest form of content? One, because of all the richness it has. That's why it's the richest form of content. Also because you can repurpose it, and also because you can use it to re-engage people. So we can kind of dive into those different things. So on the richness front, a lot of richness comes from being able to see, to hear. You can demonstrate things, like you were just saying. You can also see faces and nonverbals. So if you're listening to the podcast, you can't tell what our faces are. You can't see, what we look like and, what the setup is.
That might be a good thing.
Which might be a good thing.
Well,
you're like, wow, Josh is this really tall, dark, and handsome guy.
Yeah. But the other thing is, like, if we get back down to the nitty gritty, what are we doing? We're talking about business, marketing, stuff like that.
Right.
And so if you have a product, you get to show off your product. You could say, this is how it works, right? Ooh and ah, and all that good stuff.
And the audio experience of that is...
Yeah, what is he doing?
What's going on?
Is that a bottle? I don't know.
Is he drinking whiskey on the show? Everyone's like, we don't understand.
Absolutely not. But you can be more detailed because we live in a visual world, unless you're visually impaired. You get to see these things. You want to know. You want to see, oh, that looks like it's made out of some kind of metal. Well, it is, right? All this good stuff goes into it. So, and it's more engaging because, as we're seeing you do something or, talk about a product or whatever, we're engaged, we're entertained.
Right.
So you get to use that in video. So I would say video is king when it comes to that. And I think that's one of the reasons why we do what we do, why it's so important and it's so, poignant for us because that's what we do.
Right.
So it makes lots of sense to us. Sometimes for everybody else, it is, but you can't really explain it because what do you do most of the time? You're watching videos. You're looking at images. But you don't really make it translate. May not translate for you into business, but it should, and that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Right. And the other thing with richness in video is you compare that with text, because it's like we're used to, like on the web. People are like, oh, it's a website. Write a bunch of stuff, lots of words, lots of keywords. Google loves words,
and that's
Google
all it
does
was
love
back
words,
in the day.
But people love video,
yes.
And even Google recognizes that.
Yeah.
So in the Google algorithm,
that's why they're always YouTube.
Well, seriously.
Yeah.
And they're always updating the algorithms.
Yes.
And Google's algorithm, basically, the whole point of where they're going with it is trying to make an algorithm that will replicate a human experience.
Yes.
And so it's not about, and for years it hasn't been about any sort of like, well, if you just like take the the keywords and put them on your website in the same color as the background so people can't see them, but Google can see them, then you can get some good SEO out of that. Like, and I just heard that recently from someone. And it's like, yep, that worked 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yes.
But Google's way smarter than that now, and Google sees through that now.
Yeah.
And what Google is looking for is is this the most helpful page for a user? Because what is Google's job?
Yes.
Google's job is to provide the most relevant search result.
Yep.
And so the way to get number one on Google is to be the most relevant search result.
Yes.
There's no trick anymore. The tricks are gone. It's all about just have the best content. And video is the richest form of content.
Yeah.
And when you look at a block of text on a website versus an explainer video, and it may take a minute to read this block of text, well, it takes a minute to watch the explainer video of that block of text. And we're always going to pick the explainer video. We're never going to sit and read the block of text.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And to make it really quick and simple, you know, how else can we know that video is number one? TikTok. The end. You know, now you got Instagram Reels, and then Instagram, which is images. I mean, come on now. I mean, Josh wants to dance for TikTok, but that's my whole dance right there. You just saw it. That's it. So we're going to put this on TikTok. But these are examples as to what is the richest form of content. TikTok is number one. And then you got Instagram, which is both videos and photo. And then you have YouTube, which is all video.
Well, and I want to jump in on that. The reason you're saying TikTok is number one is not because it's the biggest, but because it has organic reach.
Yeah, well, and it is one of the biggest. By far, it's one of the biggest.
Right, it's big. Instagram and Facebook still have the biggest user counts.
Yes.
But what's happening is on TikTok and also on LinkedIn, you get organic reach. So that means it doesn't matter who you are. If you make a post, you have just as good of a chance of people seeing that post as someone else, other than the fact of how big your network is on any given platform. Then more people in your network see it. But in terms of algorithm, you're equals. Whereas on the other platforms, there's a lot of other factors that come into play.
Yeah, there's advertising, there's ads, which means there's money involved. That means if I get all of your content to all of your followers, why would you ever advertise?
And Facebook is a perfect example of that, where you've seen 10 years ago, Facebook had more or less organic reach.
Yep,
and now Facebook is like, we will show it to 10 of your 1,000 followers unless you pay.
Yes, unless you pay, exactly. And Facebook owns Instagram, and that's where Instagram has gone. They were at one point very organic, which, whatever. But, I mean, so back to the whole point, the richest form of content is video. And video is reusable.
Why is video the richest form of content?
I think we just gave a whole bunch of reasons as to why.
That's right. If you weren't listening, hit the rewind button.
Yes, because it's video, and you can hit the rewind button, and you can see all of our expressions and all that good stuff.
Like, that's in reverse if you watch that.
Oh, I'm going to add a sound effect to that. The thing is that you can repurpose content. It doesn't mean that because your content is old, it's no longer relevant. It could be very relevant. Now, I mean, it's smart to rehash things after they get older, like a few years old. But I mean, like if you think Snapchat, and I know I'm going very app-based here, but Snapchat was a thing where you had some content and then it went away after a while. And so you had to continually be doing new stuff. TikTok is not like that. YouTube's not like that. And you have to be varied with how much you can do. Like, I can't stick to only 30 seconds. That was a thing for TikTok. That was a thing for Vine. Vine's gone.
Wait,
right?
Vine?
Yeah, Vine. You remember that?
I remember Vine.
There's still YouTube videos on best Vines of this year or that year. But
yeah, Instagram Stories kind of killed that.
Yeah, it did. And that was smart because they integrated it. So it's like, and Instagram introduced IGTV. So now you can have long form content. You can have short stuff. You can have stories. So it's all of that. And we're all intrigued by it. Right. We're always scrolling and watching. So how can we use that for our benefit in business? Yeah.
Well, and you just brought up a great point. How do we use social media?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that I hate more at work than trying to go to Facebook to do a thing. Like, let me go make a post. I need to go look up this information. Let me go find this person on Facebook. Because without fail, Facebook's news feed gets me every time. Without fail.
Yeah.
And
what did I come on here for again?
Oh, no, this is exactly what happens every time we go to get on Facebook here. It's, I need to go on Facebook to go do this thing. And I go. And the minute I hit the Facebook website, I'm like, this is my goal. And immediately the news feed, and you just scroll, and I scroll for a minute or two, and then I go, no, this is not why I got on here. I got on here to do a thing. And then I'm like, what was the thing?
What was the thing?
I don't even remember.
I forgot.
I closed the Facebook tab.
Go
and then
do
I
something else.
Now I remember what it was.
Yep.
And then I can go on. And the second time, I'm like, you're not going to get me this time. And I go and I do the thing. But it's like,
you wasted time.
But the thing is, they have mastered the feed. Mm-hmm. And that's where they make their money. That's how they do their thing. They create a feed that is so compelling that you will sit there and scroll it when you had zero intention of doing so.
Yeah.
And Instagram, same thing. They work on curating that feed. There's a whole other thing about how they, curate feeds just for you, and they know what, they know more about you than
another show.
They know more about you than you know. But anyways, the point is they have a goal.
Yeah.
And we have a goal. Mm-hmm. And so when you understand that any given platform has a goal, if you can help that platform achieve its goal, that platform will help you achieve your goal.
Yeah.
By showing your content to their users. Mm-hmm. Because we think it's my Instagram account. No, it's Instagram's Instagram account. And they're letting you borrow it.
Yeah,
and so
if
you do what they like, they will let you do better.
Yep.
So, because it's an algorithm. Anyways, that was a small rabbit trail, but very relevant.
Yeah, it's super relevant.
Because
we're always relevant.
We're always relevant. Everything we say is relevant.
Absolutely.
So basically that just comes back to repurposing content.
Yeah.
And where we're going with that is if you do a long form piece of content like this podcast, for example,
right,
where we're going to sit here and we're going to talk for however long we talk about a lot of relevant things. Now, some people want to consume that whole thing. Maybe they're in the car listening and they're like, hey, I'm just going to put this on for 20, 30 minutes and get a fill of this type of content because this is what I want to learn about.
Yeah.
We do that all the time.
Yep.
But then there's times where we're like, well, I just want to go and look up one very specific thing.
Yep.
So then you take this longer piece, you break it into smaller pieces, you make micro content. Mm-hmm. And that micro content can be repurposed. You can use it on social media for little tiny pieces. You can turn it into ads. There's all kinds of things you can do with micro content.
Yeah. And as we were talking about earlier, we were talking about the different platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Don't forget about LinkedIn if you're trying to do business. So, and we were actually having a conversation about, what are we going to do with some of this stuff that we want to do, talk about, educate. And we were like, we can repurpose a lot of this stuff. And so it was like, brilliant. And let's make a show about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was perfect. So it's like, we're going to do a little bit longer form content, but we're going to go across many platforms with this because there'll be plenty of times where we're watching a YouTube video and we're just looking for, okay, what do you say about this piece of gear or whatever? And it's like, the video, the video is going to be somewhere around 10 minutes because they got to get their ads in or whatever. And it's like, we don't want to hear that. Double time, X2 on the speed, just so we can get the information. And it's like, so each platform has its place. I rarely ever do that with a podcast. If I'm listening to a podcast, like you said, if we're going from
I listen
point
to
A
everything
to point
on
B,
2X.
Yeah.
Oh man, everybody in my feed's like because I'm like, I got limited time. Let's go. Let's get this information out.
I usually, when it comes to a podcast, I listen to it more regular speed. And that's the thing.
If it's like, oh man, I gotta take notes. This is good.
It's good stuff.
Then I hit pause.
It's
I back it up a minute. I put it into regular speed, and I'm taking notes down.
Yeah.
And that happens plenty of times.
Yep.
There's a lot of times it takes me 2 hours to listen to a 30-minute podcast because I'm so busy taking notes.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to most of it on 2X.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, let's get there. Let's find out if this is good.
So each place has its own purpose, right? People on YouTube are not looking for 30+ minute content for the most part. They're looking for, and they are used to and conditioned to now, 10 minutes max. Mm-hmm. That's all we really want. When you're going on Instagram, you're not looking for something super long. When you're going on podcasts, you might be looking for something longer. You don't want something super short. I know that we have listened to some certain podcasters.
4-minute podcast episodes are annoying.
Yeah, they're annoying. And they used to be 15, 20 minutes, and now they're 4 minutes. And we were like, that's all?
Thanks, Todd.
Really? Well, that's it.
Blackmailed.
But that's annoying, right? And I think it's also annoying when you get on and you're like, long form content?
And the thing is, it may be that the content's really good, Todd. But this episodes are so short that I'm like,
I didn't get my fill.
I'm trying to drive my car here. Like, I keep going in here and hitting the next episode. And like,
yeah.
it's like, it's a format where you're like, I want to hit play and listen to something for 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah. So each place has its own thing.
Right.
So it's like, okay, we decided we're going to make something for a podcast, long form on YouTube. We're going to throw it on YouTube just so that anybody who comes along, hey, they could see it. And you're also cross-advertising as well. If you come across this on YouTube and you're like, hey, I would rather listen to it on a podcast, well, we could direct you to the podcast.
Right.
Right? And vice versa. But also, we're going to cut this up so that all the nuggets that are dropped in here can be dropped on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. And I know it's like we were actually looking at TikTok and we're like, we don't want to do the dance moves and all this goofy stuff. But there is a lot of business and marketing content. Whatever you're doing, they're doing it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, you know, if you're tap dancing, they're doing it on TikTok. So, I mean, if you're in the makeup space and you're in the photography space, if you're in real estate, if you're in what we're doing, trying to talk to people about marketing, that's there too. And it's organic. So it's going to reach the people that you want it to reach. So long as you're tagging it right, you got the keywords straight, all that good stuff. Your titles are good.
You got to put the work in.
Yeah.
Nothing is free.
Yeah.
Nothing is free.
Yeah. People aren't just going to come to you. Oh, we felt the magnetism in your aura and we came finding you. No, it doesn't work that way.
I tried.
It didn't come quick enough.
I tried. Yeah, but repurposing is so big because if you produce everything in the beginning as a short segment, you can never repurpose to something longer.
Yeah.
You can never be like, oh, let me string. I wouldn't say never, because like you can
for the most part.
I can't say I've never heard a Gary V podcast episode that's not a bunch of short things strung together.
Yeah, chopped up.
You can. Honestly, there's no rule that says you can't about anything anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just, I didn't mean that, but there's that too. So we're talking about content creation here. So if you want to make a bunch of short segments and run them together in a long segment, be our guest.
Yeah.
But it's usually most effective if you produce one longer piece of content, then cut it up into smaller pieces. If you look at somebody like Gary Vee, because we just brought him up, he's a master of this.
Master.
He's just producing content all day long, and his document don't create thing. It's just like, I'm about to start talking to some guy. Roll the camera. Cool, I'm going to talk to this guy, and somewhere in there are some nuggets.
Yeah,
go cut him,
drop some bombs.
Go find him, cut him up, and we'll post him on the gram. Post him on LinkedIn. You know, like it's like I follow Gary on a lot of different platforms, and one thing which you mentioned already, but you see that he does it different on each platform.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things about repurposing content and cutting small pieces is, okay, on YouTube, maybe you're cutting a 5-minute piece. Mm-hmm. On Instagram, maybe you're cutting a 10-second piece, a 30-second piece. Right. Same on LinkedIn. Maybe it's a 60-second piece, but it's not about the link, it's about the formatting. So, formatting. On Instagram, you're going to format as a square or a vertical. On LinkedIn, you're probably going to format as a square, but
TikTok, you're definitely going to be vertical. You're going to add all kinds of text.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
And all of the things need to be relevant to each platform.
Yep.
So like you just said, on TikTok, you better be like throwing text in there, throwing a funky song in the background, doing something to make it interesting.
To make it relevant.
Because if it's just this video with bars on top and we're
talking, you don't belong here.
Everyone's like, not on TikTok.
Yeah, not on TikTok.
And then you go do the same thing on Instagram, whether it's Reels or Stories or Posts or IGTV. You have to know the platform. Same with YouTube.
Yep.
If it's YouTube and we're like, make sure that you subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. People are like, this is YouTube, guys.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And in the same way,
by the way, subscribe to our podcast, YouTube guys.
Push that hard sale.
Now, here's the other thing. So we also do video here, and video is a very important part of our business. But let me tell you, if you were like, I want pieces of content for every one of those platforms, so I'm going to come in and film 12 different videos, that's going to get very expensive, and it's going to be tiring, and it's going to burn you out quick.
I'll qualify that.
Yeah?
It depends on what you mean by that.
Right.
So if you're like, I'm going to come in and film 12 one-minute videos, I'm just going to knock these out because I know what I have to say, and I just want a professional production, that's not necessarily going to be too expensive or knock you out.
And each thing has its own specific thing.
There's so many levels and layers to even video production or marketing. And there's levels you can do things at. You can pull out your phone, do it yourself. You can hire a production company to do a simple version. You can hire a production company to come out and spend 50 grand on a 1-minute video.
So, what I mean by that is basically if you're going to do the same piece of content 12 times for all the different platforms, you could be killing yourself when it's not necessarily necessary. I just said necessarily necessary.
So to clarify, because I totally missed what you were saying until you said it again, you're talking about I'm doing the same piece of content 12 times for 12 different platforms.
Yes.
As opposed to do one piece of content and then repurpose it in 12 different ways.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. This is what we want to do is repurposing.
Absolutely.
So if you can do one and repurpose it, that's going to be better than you trying to do, even if you come to the studio or if you were to do it, say, on your phone. And I did one for Facebook, stop. And I'm gonna do the same thing for Instagram, stop. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for TikTok with a dance, stop. That's gonna wear you out. It's gonna get very tiring.
But there may be times where you do need to do a couple different versions for certain things that are, like you say, the TikTok dance. Well, it's like maybe we need to make a content for LinkedIn and a content for TikTok.
I guess the point
and the audiences are different. So sometimes you do need to do a
the point I'm trying to get at is like this.
Mike's point.
The point I'm trying to get at is this. We're setting time aside to do this marketing show.
Yes.
This is the time we set aside. We don't have very much time to do anything else. So if I were to do this 4 different times for 4 different platforms, we don't have time. It's not going to happen.
Especially not for a 30-minute show.
And it's not going to go, right? No. Even if we have to take time to get the lights and the camera and everything like that. That also takes more time to then, I have to do this for TikTok, I have to do this for LinkedIn, I have to do this for, no, that's why we want to repurpose. Now, this is the purpose for the saying that Gary Vee gave, document, don't create.
Yes.
So now, throughout the day, I'm documenting, hey, look, we're doing this back behind the scenes, and that's going to go to Instagram. And doing a little dance as I'm going to the table, that's going to TikTok.
Yes.
And hey, guys, you want to learn how to market it, and that's going to LinkedIn. You see what I'm saying? But that's part of the more document. But once we're getting to the produced content, if you can, repurpose, because it's going to save you a whole lot of time. You won't have to get burnt out, because that's one of the things that I know that I've struggled with in the past is, man, I really want to go into all these platforms, but I just don't got the time. And I'm over here trying to think of, I got to do this, this, and this for each one. And instead it's like, we can repurpose. And we can turn one piece of content into 20.
Right.
Right? And then we can document, don't create, for the little addition and the salt on top, So, yeah, man.
Yeah, and that's where like you're saying, in those different cuts that you make for TikTok, for Instagram, for YouTube, for whatever, those different cuts are formatted for those platforms.
Yeah.
Because you have to acknowledge the platform you're on. Otherwise, it's not going to come across as genuine. It's not going to be for that platform.
Yeah.
And then people are going to be like, it's like back in the day when you remember internet forums.
Oh, yeah.
And people would
get
on.
They're still a thing.
I know, they're still a thing.
They're more at Reddit. It's like one big one now.
But in the forum, there's a way you act.
Yes.
And if you get in there and start spamming your links and trying to
sell
your product, you're out.
You're gone.
And so you have to be, I just totally lost the word, but you have to respond properly on each platform.
Yes.
You have to act the right way in each just like in life.
Yeah.
If you're in
I'm a native.
right.
I belong here.
If you're going to tea with the Queen, you're going to act different than if you're hanging out with Snoop Dogg.
What's up? Well, I don't know. Snoop Dogg might be Snoop Dogg with the Queen.
I said hanging out with Snoop Dogg, just to be clear.
Man.
So there's different, there's different settings. Just like, the metaphor you like to use about, having different suits and different sets of clothes you wear to different things in the different types of, say, video content you have produced. Sometimes it's my t-shirt, sometimes it's my suit. So you have to have the appropriate approach for each platform. But it's never
my pajamas. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not going to the store in my PJs, right? I might go in some basketball shorts and a t-shirt. I might go in a suit, but I'm never going in my PJs.
That's good.
Yeah.
I don't think men...
Men do go. I've seen some men go in some PJs. They got some...
I want like a bunny suit.
Yeah, that'd be worse.
Anyway.
But in other words, like, you got to do some decent video. Don't do garbage video. If you got a good smartphone, that's good video, so long as you know how to use it. Watch a YouTube video or two telling you how to frame up your subject, frame yourself. Don't film a video and your head is down here and everything else is up here, right? Don't do that.
Can I do the video on my little Nokia flip phone?
I dare you.
But you know
That's
what?
worse than PJs.
You know what? It can be done. And if you do it with the right oomph,
Yeah.
you might get somewhere on it.
Yeah.
Because quality is not everything. Story is king. Content is king.
Yep.
But the quality is not king. Quality is important. Quality matters.
It matters. It matters.
And depending on what you're doing, you know. So, boy, we covered a lot of ground already. We should wind this thing down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we covered the biggest stuff. So,
I'd also throw in that we can also run ads with our chopped up content as well.
Yes.
Anything that's just like, man, if it was a real gem, right, and it has to do with, you know, your product or your service or whatever it is that you're doing, and you dropped a real good nugget, and it's like, man, can I yeah, run an ad.
Run that as an ad.
Run an ad. Yeah. So.
Video content's the richest thing that you should do, and if you do it, then blah 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 blah. Boom, cut that, make it an ad, run it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good succinct statement. So that's always good. A great way to repurpose content. So we talked about what the richest form of content is, which is video.
Video.
Not text, not photos.
That doesn't mean neglect any of those, obviously.
Right.
You need those. You definitely need. Real quick, to interject real quick, we talked about recently websites and how video and explainers are very important to make the buying process easy and walking your clients through it. But it doesn't mean now we delete all the text and replace it with a video. It means it means put the video there and the text is underneath it. So if they want to dig deeper, they can go into the text and they could read the stuff. And
that's what that read more button is for.
Yep.
Because if you've got a 5-page essay on your website, people are just going to be like, oh, text. Oh, my goodness. Anyways, I'm done. I'm not reading this thing.
I do audiobooks. I watch YouTube.
Seriously. So there is a place for that long block of text, but in the terms of the design of your site, you may want to hide that behind a read more button.
Right.
Have your nice paragraph that kind of overviews it, and then be like, read more. Just a random little website
thing. It makes it easier for people to move through the process, you know, get it explained to them. Like you say, the digital handshake, I'm there to help you through this process.
Right.
And I did it in a video, so it's not wasting your time anymore.
Right.
And you're still able to clearly explain to the buyer or whoever what they need to know as they move on through the process.
Absolutely. Okay, video is rich. Video can be repurposed. And entertainment factor is something we didn't really touch on too much. We kind of laced it throughout.
TikTok.
But yeah, everyone do your TikTok dance. There has to be some level of entertainment to video.
Absolutely.
So it's not to say that you can't just look into the camera and say your sales pitch, because there's a place for that.
That's all over YouTube.
But if you're trying to grow a YouTube channel, you got to be somewhat entertaining.
Yeah, somewhat entertaining, or you have something really important like, hey, look at this product review, and people will go for reviews. I do that
people
all
love
the
product
time.
reviews. Video gear reviews, they got us.
Yeah. And they're just guys sitting in front of but I came there for the information. So what they do is they try their best to make it look nice, give information, and they make sure they hit all the points. They give us some B-roll of the product, and we're looking all over for it. So, you know, it's still entertaining in that sense.
Right.
Because that's what I came for. I came for information.
Right.
So if you entertain me with information, I like your stuff better.
Edutainment.
That's
the $5 word of the day. Well, that's pretty much it. So if you like our show, our podcast, our micro content, whatever it happens to be that you're watching, if you like it, do the whole like and subscribe and leave reviews and stuff, you know, all the stuff that everyone asks you to do. We're not even going to ask you to do it like we just did, because
we're just kind of ask you to do it.
Just going to kind of be like, well, you know that if you do this, if you do this, it will help, you know, the algorithm show us more, and then like, you know, you can find our show again next week instead of being like, where'd they go? Because
if you subscribe, you don't have to look for nothing. We'll just show up on your feed. Right.
So if you just subscribe, we'll just come right to you with more cool content like this. And I think that's probably all of the begging we can do for subscribing.
And real quick, I mean, what's our goal in what we're trying to do? I don't think we've said that yet. Our goal is just to try to help people market their business to get, if you have a business and it's doing well, we want to help you get past the plateau and do better.
Yeah.
If you're getting off the ground, we want to help you go. because we live in a country fraught with problems. But we definitely live in a country where you can make it. You can make your own business, and you could take off and have a really great financial life.
But what's a problem? An opportunity to provide a solution.
Yep.
So, if you have a solution that you're providing to someone and you want help, that's what this is here for.
Yeah.
To help you help people.
And that's what business is all about. I have a solution to a problem, and I can help you with that for a fee.
Right.
And that's how it goes. And if you got something that you have found helps people and you want to sell it, we want to help you help them. It's like I said in the first few, it's win-win-win. If we can help you, help your customers, and your customers get what they want, it's win-win-win.
Right.
So
that's it.
Yeah.
Let's all go win-win-win.
Win-win-win. Play that song.
That is the end of our episode.